What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Grayson here from PokeProfit. This is episode 2 of Cardboard Kingpin, where we track my TCG investing portfolio on its way to $1 million market value. We're going to start off by looking at current value, what I paid, current ROI, go through the products that I purchased and sold over the past month, and then just talk about market trends, my goals for the new year. And I know I did say I was going to be in front of the camera for this. I just did a test live stream last night. It went fairly well, but when I bring everything into OBS and record in there, the audio still isn't perfect. So I'm going to be tweaking things over the next 28 to 30 days, really trying to dial it in. But if I can't figure it out, I'll just record through my camera and then overlay everything after. So next update will be in front of the camera. The reason why I'm doing this series too, by the way, if you guys are new, is I just think a lot of people are full of shit in this hobby, and they claim to have more than they actually have. So I'm trying to be transparent with everything that I'm buying and selling. And yeah, it should be a very interesting thing to look back on in 5 to 10 years, see how it ultimately ends up. So starting off, current market value of all my holdings is $254,465.18. This is, by the way, in Canadian because I'm from Canada. So we are going to be using monopoly money, and the goal as well is in Canadian dollars. A total paid price is $101,449.60 Canadian. That gives us a current ROI on everything of 150.83%. Now, I will say that I added in USD this time around as the average buy price on everything. So you guys watching from home, you can, if you're not well versed in Canadian dollars, can just look at the USD, and hopefully that should make things easier. From last time, getting into the purchases that I made this month, I didn't make a ton. I mean, dollar amount wise, it was a fairly large purchasing month, but overall, just a few products. The first being an OP13 booster box case. We bought this for $2,436 Canadian and 87 cents. We bought 10 Black Bolt ETBs. I thought that these were going to come in a sealed case. They unfortunately didn't, but that was $1,149.81 CAD. We bought 18 Prismatic Evolutions ETBs, $2,184 Canadian. This is all in, by the way, like after taxes, shipping, everything, insurance. Pure BO2, we bought a 4 Asia booster box case that was $1,890.20. And I also bought a OP12 booster box case for $1,890 CAD. So you can see most of the purchases were One Piece related over the past 30 days, but in terms of Pokemon, we did add more prismatic. We're up to 100 ETBs total now. I believe 30 of them are in sealed cases and 70 are technically loose, not in sealed boxes. Then we also have the 10 Black Bolt ETBs. You guys know I'm actually a fairly big fan of Black Bolt. I am planning to dollar cost average over the next couple years and buy more. I wouldn't be grabbing hundreds of these right now. I think there might be better opportunities in the future. We still haven't seen any Black Bolt get restocked at like Costco or Sam's Club, and I think in the future that is a possibility. In terms of prismatic as well, if there are more restocks in the future, I'll probably buy more and continue to dollar cost average, but I'm definitely happy with the position I have now. Outside that, nothing else has changed in the ETB category. I still have my Paldea Vault PCTBs, the Paldean Fates case, 1 Prismatic PCTB, 1 Fusion Strike 1 Brilliant Stars, and then 3 cases worth of Crown Zenith ETBs. Now, if we go down to booster boxes and booster bundles, again, nothing has changed here. We have our 2 Journey Together booster boxes, the enhanced version, 1 Destined Rivals, and this is kind of what I want to talk about. So going into 2026, one of my goals is going to be targeting Destined Rivals. If there is no restock, I'd say, or reprint by probably April, I'll more than likely be buying a case at that point. And then in the latter months of the year, if there is a restock, I'll probably buy a lot more than a case. I would like to eventually get, let's say, 3, 4, maybe 5 cases worth of Destined Rivals booster boxes. It is clearly the best set in the Scarlet and Violet era, at least when it comes to the booster boxes. So I want to have a much larger position than the 1 box that I currently have, but I bought it at a decent price. I got it from Hobbiesville for about $182 USD all in after Canadian taxes and shipping. So I'm at least grateful for that, but I definitely want to have a larger position in the future. Outside of Destined Rivals, really nothing I want to add in the SVR Surging Sparks. I have more than a couple cases, which is good. I have a case of Twilight Masquerade, Temporal Forces, a couple boxes of SV Base, Paldea Evolved. We have more than a couple cases as well, more than a case of Paradox. So I'm not really looking to add any Stellar Crown. I'm not looking to add more. I don't have any Obsidian Flames either, but I'm not looking to add more Paradox or Journey Together, any of these sets, at least not at this point. Maybe if Journey gets a reprint, it comes down in price to, let's say, like MSRP or less, maybe I'd pick up a case. But for now, I'm happy with my SV era positions. I'm also looking towards the new Mega set. So Mega Evolutions, Phantasmal Flames, I'm hoping that there will be better entry points next year. And if there isn't, I'll probably begin dollar cost averaging anyway, and then just planning to buy more if reprints do come after I get my initial position in those. And then also Ascended Heroes is going to be a very interesting set. I imagine they're going to print a lot of it, so I'm not going to go crazy out the gate, but it's going to be very impressive in my opinion. You're going to have Mega Gengar, you're going to have the Dragonite Gold card, Dragonite SIR, the Pikachu, the Mewtwo. These are just some cards, by the way. We had a lot more of the illustration rares and SIRs unveiled, and it looks like we're going to have a Marilyn here, some other pretty interesting illustration rares, and then obviously the big announcements were the Mega Meganium, I believe, and then Mega Emboar, Mega Feraligatr, which is definitely my favorite out of all the new leaks that we got, but we're also getting a Charizard Gold card, a Lily's Clefairy, which will be worth a decent amount, and then the Pikachu. So although these aren't guaranteed yet to be in Ascended Heroes, it is assumed that they're going to be in there. So I think that if a lot of these are in Ascended Heroes combined with Mega Dream EX, it's going to be probably one of the best sets we've gotten over the past couple of years, maybe even the best set, who knows. Very excited to see what happens with Ascended Heroes. And I think that's really all I want to talk about in terms of Pokemon. The booster bundles haven't changed either. You guys know when I made my video yesterday talking about my investing report card, one of the things I loved about 2025 was the fact I picked up a lot of 151 booster bundles for basically MSRP. I did add a little bit, like an extra booster bundle display later on in the year, but most of these were purchased for like 48 Canadian, something like that. So now it's up to almost 59. Crown Zenith, I've held those for a while. Silver Tempest, 25 of those still. And then Lost Origin, we did sell some of these a couple months ago, but we still have a case worth, and we bought those 24.42 USD. Seems like a lifetime ago at this point. Couple sleeve boosters and loose booster packs, the Evolving Skies sleeve packs, and then the art set of Team Up. That's all I have from the Sun and Moon era. Nothing changed in the miscellaneous department. Still have a case of Divergent Powers tins, the Crown Zenith, Galarian Moltres ones, 3 Fusion Strike Build and Battle kits, and then 1 Prismatic Evolutions Super Premium Collection. Now, before we get a little bit deeper into the One Piece positions and ads over the past month, I did want to say I bought a Gundam New Type Rising booster box. I've had this for months now. I just forgot to log it last time, so it's in there. I purchased it at about 184 Canadian, approximately 133 USD. I don't think this was a great buy. I just wanted to have one box of Gundam from the first set, just in case, you never know. And then also the Kingdoms of Intrigue OPO4 box. I purchased this way back in like May or June. I have about 220 Canadian into it, which is about 160 USD. These boxes are going for about 400 now, but that was another thing I forgot to add. And then also the PRBO2 numbers, I had done a little bit of a calculation error, and I think it's about $5 difference in terms of average buy price now. So we're at 214.34 Canadian, which is about 156 USD. But the big ads for the past month were a OP12 case. We picked that up from HPW Games. Carrying on as well, we had a case in the mail. I think the last time we did the update, it just hadn't arrived yet. So that's officially been logged. Outside that, we did grab another case of PRBO2. This is the For Asia variant. So I purchased this off a connection in Singapore. It's literally the exact same product as the North American or European release. The only difference is that on the distro cases, they use green tape instead of clear tape. And then on the booster boxes, there is a stamp that says for Asia. You can basically use the comparison of Nintendo 3DS games where there's the North American release and then there's the UAE Singapore release. It's literally the exact same cartridge. You can use it on your North American consoles, but there's just a little stamp that's different on the cover art. So basically the exact same product. I think in the future, the values between the 4Asia boxes and the North American release is going to be fairly close. Maybe 5% difference. If it's more than that, I would be shocked. I think if One Piece really pops off in terms of the rip and ship potential that I think is there with OP13 and some of these other cases, the first boxes that rip and shippers are going to buy are the 4Asia cases, because why would you pay an extra 20% for a North American box when you can just buy the ones from Singapore or other parts of Asia for less? It's kind of obvious to me that's what is going to happen in the future. But in terms of One Piece in the market right now, I haven't been buying a ton. I just purchased a couple boxes from Hobbiesville of OP11. So those are in the mail, and that's why I haven't logged them, just because they haven't arrived yet. Once things arrive, it's in good shape. I put it in the spreadsheet. So next month, probably, assuming it arrives safely, that will be in the log. But for right now, I'm not buying a ton of stuff. I'm actually looking to move my OP04 box. I'm just not a huge fan of the set. It's moved up decently. I think there'll be better places to put this money in the future. PRBO2, like I said, the 4Asia case, I'm trying to move that as well, but I'm keeping my North American release. I have at least a little bit of exposure. OP12, if you guys are thinking of getting into One Piece, is probably the best entry point right now when we look at all the booster boxes. This is definitely a mid-tier set, but it's the cheapest booster box. It's way cheaper than Royal Blood, than OP07, 500 years in the future, 2 Legends as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a $200 to $250 box a couple of years from now. I think that's very realistic. And then obviously OP13, we're sitting around $320. It's pulling back a little bit. I am really hopeful that next year there will be a sizable reprint and I'll be able to grab more boxes. I know this is getting uploaded to the Pokemon channel, but you have to remember that the top 10 value in this set is more than Team Up and Evolving Skies combined. And the booster box is about $300, right? So that should give you an idea of how much value you can pull out of here. The PSA 10 Luffy, the red one, is going for 15, 16, maybe even up to 18K again in a PSA 10. Some of the other cards as well, we're talking $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. So very expensive cards that you can pull out of these booster boxes. And I think that's really all I wanted to get to in this video in terms of One Piece, just not buying anything right now. Pokemon going into 2026, I'm really going to try and build my position of Destined Rivals. And if we don't see anything by April or May, I'm probably just going to bite the bullet and start DCAing into booster box cases. So you guys let me know in the comment section down below what you think. If there's anything I should do in episode 3. Also, if anyone is in doubt that I own any of these products, and this is kind of why I'm doing this, right? If enough people don't believe that I actually own what I say I own, I will make a video just proving that I own it. Obviously, I'm not going to do it for every single comment that someone puts up, because that would just be a giant waste of time. But if there is a large enough percentage of people that are actually dubious about me owning this stuff, I will record a short or something and throw it up as proof. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm just trying my best to be transparent with this entire process and showing you guys that over time, if you stay consistent, if you're not over leveraged, if you buy the right products, you can succeed investing into Pokemon, One Piece, or other TCGs. So if you guys got some value out of this video as well, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you are shopping, eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I do have affiliate links down below. They're free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on the link before you do your shopping. I'll get a small percentage of the sale and no extra cost to you. So it's a free and easy way to support the channel. Not to mention, I also have links to my consultation calls. If you guys want to take TCG investing more seriously, you need some help getting all of that set up. The link to the market spreadsheet is there as well. Thank you guys again for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.